So, um, I'm rebuilding this rx8. I'm actually gonna do a lot of work to it. It's pretty tore apart. You can see the hood back there. Got a bumper, a door, a fender there, cards, some more doors back there. There's another door behind that box back in that corner. Um, I've also got a project bike and fixing some rust on a truck. But right now I got a project coming in that I got to wrap, and I don't want to make a lot of dust, so I'm kind of putting the truck on pause and working on this 13B rx8. I'm kind of going to go through this process, and I guess it's kind of the introduction of the series. And you're like, oh no, you got a lot taken out. But honestly, at this point, right now, there's not like a lot taken out. For the most part, I mean, I've got a handful of stuff, but you got to take off your air box, which comes off pretty easily. Then you get your upper, actually, from there you get the little piece that goes in between that and the throttle body. And then you take off that piece, which comes off pretty easy. The biggest thing is make sure you take out these two nuts that go down to the oil, and then everything's kind of up here. And then after that, you're gonna have another little Y piece that'll come off, and that'll go down to here, and the one on the backside. And I would suggest taking off this backside bolt first. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of start unbolting, and then next, it's up to you. But I took off this piece right here, which is that piece right there. And I took out the alternator, which I misplaced the bracket for somewhere. But anyways, yeah, you just kind of take off this little pulley here. You can take off the bracket that kind of sticks up here. And then you can take the bolt out right there, and that alternator will come out. I got the coolant reservoir off, a couple of the hoses. Pretty straightforward stuff. Started disconnecting stuff, and it's not my first time doing something like this, so I didn't label anything, but definitely label where all your hoses go. Yeah. These fuel connectors for your lines, stuff like that, they come off pretty easy. All you really do is pull these pieces back, and then I'd work back and forth a little bit, make sure that it's loose, and then you can they should slide off. They should pop off. Pretty easy. A lot of your hoses kind of have labeling on it where they go. This is my first time doing one of these, like I said, so yeah, it really shows you just how small these motors are, because like here's the front and there's the back. They're just itty bitty, right there to right here. I mean, that's my hand over it, and it covers over half of the motor. So to show you how small a rotary engine is, it's very, very small. The reason why I want to start here, instead of going through all like the take this off, take that off, maybe I'll do that in the process of putting it back together. But why not do it now? Because it's pretty basic bolt down stuff. You unbolt this, you unbolt that. Pretty easy, accessible stuff. I stopped here because I don't know if you can see, but this piece right here, actually, there's bolts you have to get through from the bottom At least I find it easier to go from the bottom. So I'll wind up taking off the exhaust, which is probably my next video. I'm going to take out this engine mount here, and then I will make a video on how to take this off. And we're going to get this engine mount out over here. We'll actually slide everything this way. We're going to take the transmission brace off. And then I'll go through kind of unhooking some of these connectors. I don't think I'm going to go through unhooking the connectors. That's pretty self-explanatory. You take it off, get a piece of blue tape. Where's mine? Right here. You take some blue tape off, you put it on there, kind of care, and then label it, and then you can go on the other side of your connector. So let's say it's this connector here that went to another piece right here, right? So you put them together, and I'd label this side as, for example, I'm going to call this 1, and then put blue tape on this side, call it 1. And then you can just go through and match up all of your numbers. You can do the same thing with your injectors. Label, maybe you want to call this one 1, the next one in line 2, the next one 3 and 4. You can call it injector 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can just go 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can do the same. You can just label all of that. But then you also have like the secondary injectors down in here. And then you keep going through. And then, you piece this down here. You get one here. You get one on the bottom side of your, for your thermostat right there. You get another one down in there. But I've torn apart. You got this one here that goes down in there. I could go through and show you how to do all of that. I don't label my coils because they're, length-wise, it's only going to reach a certain way. And I didn't label any of the coils going to the spark plugs because you can go online, look at a schematic, and you're, gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The wires that go from here to there. Spark plug wires are going to be different lengths, and you just kind of match them up as which one fits best. And you can go online, you can look it all up. So that's kind of why I wanted to start here and just kind of do a brief introduction on this. I guess during this introduction, why did I choose a rotary engine, a Mazda rx8, to do this to? One is you can pick these up actually fairly cheap. If you wait around, you can find them cheap enough. You can fix them up, and yeah, they are. It's a good buy. Cheap enough to rebuild, cheap enough to purchase. Little hands-on. They're actually pretty simple motors. A little bit of complexity in it, and you don't have to worry about timing, stuff like that. Just simple motors to work on. A little scary because people are like, oh, there's not a lot of information out there for them. There really isn't, and I'll give them that. The reason why we were pulling this specific one is I pulled it apart. I actually rebuilt this motor. That's why some of these parts are pretty clean looking. You can see my engine mount's pretty clean. This is pretty clean. You can look down in here. There's not any buildup or anything. Everything's really clean down there. So I pulled this apart. This was my first rotary rebuild. And in this first rotor here, I did not do a good job of actually setting the center iron on, and then this would be the first rotor. This would not. So anyways, I didn't do a good job of setting the center iron on, and I pinched one of the coolant lines, or maybe when I put this front iron on, and somewhere in this first rotor, I'm leaking coolant, and we'll tear it apart. We'll figure out exactly what I did wrong. But otherwise, the car actually runs really good. It idles. It's got power. It's got compression. I'm getting coolant and a lot of smoke. I looked into why I'm having smoke, and it's because of the coolant. When I pull the plugs off, I can pull off the plugs on right here, and there's going to be lots of coolant in there. So I'm just ripping this apart, going to rebuild it all over again. Probably just reuse a lot of the same parts because I've got maybe half a mile, and now I've got to have at least a mile because my the little looper on my block is a mile. So I got a mile in drive time and like a half hour of run time. So I'm just gonna reuse a lot of the parts as long as everything else I did was fine, which it seems to be, and just replace some coolant rings. We'll see. Maybe I'll do something else, but I can't guarantee that. Yeah, I guess that's all I got for today, and I'll keep plucking away at this rotary rebuild.